button and say, yo, what up?
Ayo, ayo.
You've brought to me the menace of the format, the character that's going to break the game in
the
half,
character, the most OP character ever designed.
ruin everything that my hero has ever stood for. How
truly,
dare you
people
do this?
People will understand why people were afraid of menaces like Lord Raptor, or the same level of broken here. Really,
Correct. 100%.
Good old Granny.
Yeah. So, hit me with the elevator pitch. What do you got going on for Recovery Girl?
Okay, so the elevator pitch is I want to play Johnny Cage, but Standard is dead. And this character is doing something similar, and the idea is that I want to be able to tank a lot of hits so I can build in the most important foundations and then rely purely on offense on just really powerful swinging attacks. Cannon Blast does so much damage on its own. Frog Lashing does a lot on its own, especially when enabled by Naval Laser Beam, as well as Frog Lashing and Naval Laser Beam both being breakers, so that way I can stop the opponent when I need them to not kill me, and then on my turn be able to rely on my deck's offense. Right now, the main help I need with this deck is really understanding ratios, because a character like Recovery Girl is very strange with her ratios, because she gets to look at her entire discard pile, which means if she checks a foundation, it's almost as good as her drawing it, as long as she takes damage at some point in the game. Which means things that might be a 3 of, you can justify bringing down to a 2 of. 2 ofs, you can justify bringing down to a 1 of, so on and so forth. And I've never really played with a character with that strange of ratios, so that's really where I just need a lot of help with this deck.
I love it.
Oh, and looking at the list that I sent you, there's actually one change I've already made that I didn't realize didn't get updated. The one change is that Glamorous is a 1 of and Rigorous Training is a 1 of, which Rigorous Training isn't in the deck currently. That's just where it is right now.
Glamorous is a 1 of, and then Rigorous Training
is in there, which I'm kind of uncertain on. Michael Nelson has been really saying that that's like a really cute interaction, and it is. But I'm not sure giving up our main building just to really get -3 damage on a 5-hander is enough justified trade-off. But we'll kind of see. It's one of the things I've been messing with. I figure as a 1 of, it's cute enough, might as well.
I think that's where I would probably fall on it, is just as a 1 of. But I get it. We're still doing some looking. I'm sorry about it.
Oh, yeah, no, this is a weird character, so as much time as you need, go right ahead.
Okay, there's that. And then there's this.
I really can't wait, because people are saying how crazy she is. And I remember the exact same convos with Cementos. I can't wait till she actually comes out and no one plays her.
Yeah, she's terrible. She's actually not a good character. Hey, I'm gonna say it. She's very bad. Put it on record. Okay.
Boop. I need to clip this for when she actually wins a tournament.
Yeah, go for it. Please do. Yeah, I think she's really fucking bad. I think Cementos is a good ass character. I think a lot of people. Cementos is boring as shit. Cementos is one of the most boring characters you can play. Cementos is very good at doing his job. He readies his whole stage. He draws 1,000 cards. He slams damage. This character, you
super
punch
cool.
her in the mouth and she builds one. Who cares?
Yeah, she kind of has to play on life. Like, a lot of people have been suggesting her on water because you get like better damage reduction on water. But I felt like she kind of has to play on life because without Excited for Blood, that 30 is a truly finite resource that she will eventually run out of.
100%. 100%. Okay, so here's my initial thoughts on Recovery Girl as a character. I think the only way that she gets to play the game is she has Passing the Torch. Passing the Torch is the number one thing that you have to have on the board.
Agreed.
And being able to find it from anywhere is very, very good, even if it is from your hand, to the point where I think we have to play New Training Method in order to slam more cards down out of our board. We can build in New Training Method with our character and then slam an extra resource down. -1.
Can I give you a little
passing? Go ahead.
Can I give you a little bit of a counter argument for because if I believe how the rules work, how
Mhm.
we can always build it from our hand without new training method. Correct me if I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
But if we block and we fail the block, it goes into the discard before we take the damage, correct?
Yeah, 100%.
So that means that if it's in our hand and we really want to build it, we play it as a block, fail the block check,
Mm-hmm.
and then build it in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, but this card also says draw a card when it matters, right?
What, new training method? Because it does get the
Because you get the
foundation?
foundation
Okay,
back, right? And
sure.
so it is a committed resource that we feel super down to either Recovery Girl on their move to make their thing a throw and we don't care, or it's just your attack, even better, or we just self-sacrifice it away in order to
Sure.
put it back in our discard pile and then slam an extra 2 cards in our hand and then build it back down.
Sure. What do we replace it with in
No
this
idea.
deck?
No idea.
That's my problem, is that
Yep.
because you don't want to make the deck larger, because you make it larger, you're seeing passing the torch less.
Correct. Aiming for number 1.
Uh,
This card's great. This card's removed to draw a bonus 2 cards. It is a
Okay.
5th copy of Passing the Torch in our hand whenever it's clutch, whenever we need it. We don't care about the top response. We're just caring about the bottom.
Good enough to main deck, or do you think it's worth side decking?
I don't know. This is a character that I have actually no idea what to do with.
Fair enough.
This character's strength is in her foundations and the options that she has for her foundations, to the
Yep.
point where, like, you could have one less tight-lipped, right? It could be a 3 of, and you slam in the aiming for number 1 because if you want tight-lipped, you're going to go find it, right?
Sure.
I think the number 1 reason to play this character under the life symbol is for planning ahead. This is
Okay.
the reason that I would play this character under life and good, because it is reusable. Excited for blood, right?
I guess when you are against like a deck that you know is playing all the same symbol, or at least playing mostly the same symbol,
Mhm.
it does kind of just become a -6 damage on every attack because you blow it up with self-sack and rebuild it in.
100%.
Which -6 damage does sound really good now that I'm hearing it out loud.
Sounds super, super good. It says
Okay.
that, like, the big bombs aren't actually big bombs, and, like, when you check them, you don't feel bad because you get to build them back in, and there's, like, your real defense, right?
Yeah, I actually think that can immediately replace and just throw this card in the side deck instead. Bonds of Friendship I threw in there as a 1-of because it's cute when you're against Fury decks, but I think those are uncommon enough in the meta right now. You could replace the bonds with the planning ahead.
So here's what I'm saying. If I were to play
Yeah.
Recovery Girl right now, whenever I do have to make one on TTS eventually, I'm playing 4 of this card.
You're playing 4
I'm
planning
playing
ahead.
4 planning ahead, and I'm getting rid of these first villain encounters. I think first villain is cool. It's neat. It's one of the 1-ofs. I think this card. I think you slam 3 of this onto the board, and you look at your opponent, and you go, you know that what they're playing, right? You know their play pattern. You're like, all right, next one's mid. All right, I'll take 1. I'll build something in, right? And then on the next deck, you commit. And you say, I'll name high because I know what you're playing next, right? Or you get all 3 and you just name all 3 zones, and you look at them and go, okay, this move isn't hitting me. I committed 3, which I got crazy resources for.
Oh, that's
an
an interesting idea. Here's my concern with getting rid of first villain encounter. So I actually like your argument of playing more than 1 planning ahead. I think that's really cool. My concern with getting rid of first villain encounter is it seems like the way you beat this character right now is you just play the Grey War until you sculpt a hand that's going to kill them. And without first villain encounter, or even maybe just having it as purely a 1-of, you end up in this bad situation where your opponent is outbuilding you because you're a true 5-hander, and they go into deadlock. They're not scared because you don't have good enough deadlock punish on them, and then they just string out and kill you.
That's fair, but this card stops them from playing those moves and probably committing themselves out. This card says if I'm good at the game, that I didn't care that they threw a bunch of moves, they just didn't do any damage.
Okay.
Right, and so, like, this is a planning ahead, high skill capped card. You gotta be, you're playing Midoriya 1. You gotta be damn good at the game. Where this card is just like, it doesn't actually. I mean, it's fine offensively for our abilities, right? But, like, this card says that we probably just, hopefully we don't die, which is her issue. I think she just dies. I can tell you. So here's my one experience with Recovery Girl. K Wright, fan of the show, fan of the stream. I was editing at 2:30 in the morning, and it was right after I got done with the Cementos event, that I went 3-0. Big shout outs to you, thank you so much. And he was like, "Yo, I want to play test this deck. I'm so hyped for it." And he slammed down Recover Girl, and I went, "Well, I'm playing Cementos all day. I'll just play Cementos." And he built 4, held 1, and I drew my hand, and I built my 5 and said, "You can't kill me." And then I built 2-10, and then he tried to poke me once. I flipped my foundations, became a 6-hander, and then killed her. And so it wasn't even like I didn't have to go to deadlock. I didn't have to. Right? I killed her, and I was a 6-hander as Cementos.
Tell me how you're feeling. Tell me how you're feeling about this. I agree. You're convincing me on the 4 of planning ahead. So let's throw, if nothing else, I think it's so cool in style that I'm willing to have it as a 4 of.
Love it.
So 4 of planning ahead. How about get rid of Bonds of Friendship, get rid of Rigorous, and 2 first villain encounter? How's that sound?
I think 2 is beautiful. And then get rid of Bonds, and then Rigorous is gone. Let's see if I can actually find a different spot for this. Someone with Style instead. Can we do that instead of the Rigorous?
The only reason I like someone with Style is you absolutely need something on board that blows up foundations so you can reuse them that you've committed out. Reuse your Passing a Torch and stuff like that.
Is release just not a good enough release or self-sacrifice? Both of 4 ofs just not a good enough number, especially with being able to build in release with Back Alley Haymaker.
Make someone a Style 1 of, and I'm fine with that.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, someone Style is a 1 of. Either that or get rid of the Glamorous. I actually think the Glamorous, I don't find that amazing.
I think this card's actually nuts in your deck. This card's actually nuts. So here's the craziest moves ever, right? So we have Glamorous in our discard pile. Our opponent's doing the things. I get to flip my Excited for Blood on my turn. You rescue completed to destroy and ready my face down. Take a lick, Glamorous, unflip Excited for Blood. Or commit Passing the Torch, flip it with Tight-Lipped, destroy with rescue complete to re-ready Passing the Torch, take a lick, build in Tight-Lipped, unflip Passing the Torch.
You know what? I actually already agree with you because I forgot. Because also one area where Glamorous is actually super relevant, it's not just its unflip, but it's really good against stuff like Specialist of Sound in the format.
Right.
Because one thing is, we aren't adding any speed on our own, really. Our only thing to add speed is rescue completed, and then we're relying on what our attacks do for speed. So
right. Yeah.
I think Glamorous being able to say, you just committed for Specialist of Sound, you did nothing. Yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
What are our stats at? 64. Man, our low blocks suck, huh?
But I actually don't. I think this is a deck where having more mid blocks than anything else is actually more okay, because you want to be partial blocking as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
To minimize to still take damage, but keep it at low of a number as you can.
Also, if we're afraid, we just planning ahead and call low. Like, all right, your low attacks just don't do shit.
Just say fine. Yeah. What are you gonna do about it?
Trisha Cape. Trisha Cape is nuts in your deck. You have to play it at a 1 of so that when they do go to deadlock, you get to play Cannon Blast 3 times. Or 4 times, sorry.
Yeah.
Cannon, remove, flip, a cannon.
I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. It's only a 1 of, isn't it, though?
It's got to be a 1 of. And that sucks, but like it also lets you unflip Excited for Bloods. It lets you unflip Encouraging Training Partners, your first villains if you need to. A Precious Lesson, being able to unflip that card says that you actually get to play the game. Same thing with Walkling. It's just
Precious Lesson.
Glamorous over and over and over and over and over again. But we just don't have the room because we just don't have the room for 2. I want 2 in this deck, but this card's incredibly slow, and our character's incredibly slow, so we just don't.
We might be able to put a second one in the side for when we're going first to side out the ready, get, set, goes. Maybe. I don't know.
Sure. I think that's fine.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm on the same page so far.
The only other thing that I think is interesting in this character is something like Full Power Clash. We get to build in selective foundations, and so if I've already got 2 on board and I've got 1 on my discard pile, I'll just build the last one in and be like, hey, you think it's +3/+3. So it's a 4-diff 6 for 6 with powerful 2, which is cool when I toss throw on it. But that's like,
So
this is cheeky. I don't think you need to replace it with anything. I think it's an option that I wanted to tell you and the community, right? Of
Yeah,
like,
the only option I could see it being better than is maybe Tongue Whip, but Tongue Whip is so generically good, I'd probably stick with Tongue Whip.
Tongue Whip's a low block, so we have to have it.
Yeah,
We
that's
have
also true.
13 low blocks. Not allowed to cut any low blocks. To the point of, I would actually even maybe even drop Naval Laser Beam down to a 3 of, and man, I want to play full Cowling in every single life deck that I can, because I think the life decks right now have like a hard time like finding kill conditions. This is the spicy. I think I'm playing it at 2 of. I just recorded a deck profile for Patreon for Ochako 1 under life, and this is the spice of this card is actually seeing a bonus 6 cards in her, and even just seeing 3 cards to just hope and pray you find some sort of aggression, because otherwise you're just stuck as a 5-hander, and we just
I like your logic. Is that better or worse than Naval Laser both serving as a breaker 2 and setting up our frog lashings? Because we don't have a way to flip on face.
Tight-lipped is our flip. Tight-lip and all of the crazy flips that you have.
Yeah, okay.
So here's what I would do actually. I know we're at 65. I would just slam 4 of this in your deck. Or maybe even like 2 of it. Let's just slam 2 of it in our deck.
Remember, the bigger we get, the less we see passing the torch.
Totally agree. It puts us at a better low block count. This card lets us dig for passing the torch. This card says if I draw 1 for all full Cowling, right? Are you ready? I could go on turn 2. I could go Foundation of the Foundation that I want to play, and then full Cowling. Discard the other 3 cards out of my hand. Those are now 3 Foundations, and I've now put in my discard pile for Recovery Girl. I draw 3 fresh ones, right? And so now I've got these 3 options that maybe I don't need them right this second, right? It was a rescue completed and a rigorous training in my hand, and so I'll discard those 2 and be fine. Draw 1 more attack, 2 more Foundations. All right, build my 2 Foundations, pass, hold my 1 block, be ready to build in the cards that I discarded off of full Cowling, as well as you have the added bonus of if this move's not blocked, can be rival's character.
And in a lot of matchups, a lot of defensive matchups, they have to block. I mean, for example, in the mirror, Recovery Girl doesn't have a choice but to block this.
Ain't that the truth?
Okay.
Yeah, I think this card is really neat tech inside of, honestly, every character. I think every character that can play these symbols should probably have this card at somewhere in their main or sideboard. I am so on to this card right now. It's kind of my newest hotness.
I'm convinced right now.
I want to be playing.
I'm convinced to certainly mess around with it, if nothing else, to run it, try it, see if it works.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything on the list that I was uncertain about from testing, because I spent like all yesterday play testing this deck.
I'm gonna run back through the life options one more time, just to look.
Childhood Friends? So Childhood Friends is such a crazy card to me. In this deck. Picking back up our Cannon Blast, picking back up our Frog Lashings, especially our Frog Lashings for defense as well, feels so crazy good. We were talking about hurting for low blocks. My body, my soul wants to justify it being a 3 of instead of a 2 of, but I don't know if there's room for it as a 3 of.
It also now gets to pick up this 1 for all full Cowling Strike because we share 2 symbols.
It does get to pick up 1 for all full Cowling, doesn't it?
Just to like put it there, but that's on at the start of your in phase.
Start of your in phase.
That doesn't actually necessarily help us.
What really helps is picking up the Frog Lashing, so you have, or the Cannon Blast, because those are your kill cards. So like if they don't block the Cannon Blast, you do like 14 damage to them, and then on the next turn you get to do that again and make it a throw.
Right.
Which feels really good. And most of our attacks have really good blocks on them too.
Yeah, they certainly do. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through one more time.
I want to make sure that, this deck's in a solid place so they can get it. I'm probably coming back next month with the water version of this list, so good luck with that.
67 cards, 22 attacks. I want to cut like 2 cards somewhere, but I just don't know where it should be, right? If anything, I guess it is rigorous training, but man, I actually think this card's going to put in a lot of work in very specific matchups, and it's one of the easiest sideable cards that you can have, right? So I live by a philosophy of, I think that there should be these like this this is like a negative connotation, but like the weakest link cards, right? The cards that you don't absolutely need, and that is like the definition of rigorous training. In like the Tokoyami matchup, this card sucks, right? But in the versus the evil deck that I played yesterday, this card absolutely demolishes it, right? I'm playing a bunch of 4 damage moves, and I'm trying to string you with 4 damage moves. I think this card, so you ready? I think rigorous training versus Asui is nuts. Hey, I'm going to play this 4 damage move, and I'm going to kick it. I'm going to play another 4 damage or 5 damage move, and I'll kick it. I'll play another 4 damage move and kick it. This is take 1 on every single one of those, and I get to rebuild this in and like keep like all your moves do 1 damage. I'm at 30. I don't care what you did. All right. Now I'll play the frog lashing, and it's for 100. All right, I'll block. Okay, I'll block that one. Go ahead. Your turn. Go ahead. What are we doing?
Of course, for that to be relevant, for the rigorous to be relevant, we have to check or draw it in 67 cards, which means if we checked 34 cards, we'd have a 50-50, or have seen 34 of our cards, we'd have a 50-50 shot of seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah. How much? Here's a question for you, and I'll say the bad words. How much Johnny Cage did you play in standard?
I played 0, I think.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if I played any Johnny Cage. I saw a lot of Johnny Cage matchups, but I didn't actually play that much standard competitively.
Yeah.
I mostly just played a little bit at locals, and then kind of just waited for my hero for 2 years. But I did not play much Johnny Cage, so I don't have that much experience with how ratios work in Johnny Cage.
Yeah. He's the one-of master. He loves seeing one-ofs. You could play an 80-card deck with Johnny Cage and be fine with it. He also had damage reduction on his face, which we kind of do with the first form, but that is the main reason that I think you have to play 4 planning ahead. If there is a deck to do what it is that you want to do, it is actually not the life symbol. It's actually probably the good symbol, with 4 planning ahead, rigorous training being able to be built in, resistance.
See, I've looked into the good symbol because you also get You're So Obvious on defense and a lot of other crazy cards like that. I've looked into the good symbol. The main problem is on its own, without a character ability helping it, the good symbol really struggles to kill.
Yeah.
It doesn't have these haymakers. No pun. I guess that's haymaker.
It's got at least one.
But yeah, it's got haymaker, but doesn't have your cannon blast, your frog lashing, these really good bombs.
This card does have the good symbol, but it does not have lashing. Yeah.
It doesn't have flashing. Yeah, so you get Cannon Blast. And Cannon Blast, the problem with it is, yes, on its own, it is a bomb, but it does hurt your ability to run the punch package, which I think is the only really good set of attacks right now on good that I really like. Good weapons is okay, but good punch to me is way better. But if you're running Cannon Blast, that obviously conflicts with your combo on your Texas Smash. I just don't see how on good Recovery Girl kills someone.
Hardened Pommel.
If we have already got momentum, which I guess we get to make things throw to try to grab momentum.
We play reverse throw. You get momentum. They gotta block your reverse throw. You
True.
get to play things like Specialized Sound Waves. I know it doesn't become a whatever, but like you get to play Unwavering Slash to like ready things and redraw more cards on like Passing the Torch.
Yeah, you do get Airstream Driver.
You get Airstream Driver. Like it's got. I mean, the good symbol has bombs, right?
I like how we've gone from this being a life deck doctor to what if we just built this on the good symbol?
I'm telling you, that's what I would do, right? I think that the life symbol can work, right? But I think that and once again, I think the good symbol only works if I'm playing 4 planning ahead. I think this is, mark my words, I think this is going to be her best card currently. Set 3 is going to come out and shake everything up. There's going to be planning ahead, but on crack that's going to come out or something, right? Like there's going to be something that's going to make that you build in every time with Recovery Girl, and she's going to be cracked. But right now, as it currently stands, I think this is Passing Torch is her best card because she has to be able to block things. You can't just face tank at all. And then planning ahead says when I don't want to block and I want to take the 1 damage from your 6 damage move, I can.
Honestly, the main reason I don't like or don't like the good symbol right now versus life symbol is all the stuff we're talking about, her best cards she gets on life. And she also gets excited for blood on life.
Yep.
And excited for blood's such a crazy card. My only concern with this deck list as we have it now, I like what I'm seeing here. We have 10 3-diffs.
Yeah.
How often are we going to see a hand of 5 foundations where we've got like 2 or 3 3-diffs in there and can confidently build 3 pass?
With how good the mulligan system is now, as opposed to standard universes, it's going to be great. Johnny Cage was playing more 3-diffs, and he was completely off-symboling cards. So you would like draw a hand and have 2 foundations you literally couldn't play. They weren't on symbol. And so you would just have to review them.
Johnny Cage seems like such a silly deck.
He's so sick. He's very, very cool. But yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be totally chill.
Okay.
Yeah. If anything, you could take like Excited for Blood down by 1. In fact, what I want to do is I actually want to push Rescue Completed up to a 4 of, but I don't have room in the deck with the 1 ofs that you have. Right.
Yeah, honestly, what I think we do with Rescue Completed. So so here's my other question.
Yeah.
What cards in the deck? Because obviously a lot of our side deck is filled with like tech cards for specific matchups. Are there any cards in the deck that we know when we're going first, we're gonna side ready get set go out for like bump up to a 3 or 4 of? Like, are we gonna throw 2 rescues in the side to bump that up?
Easily could. Same thing with Wall Cling.
Yeah.
Same thing with first villain encounter, right? There's your high blocks, I guess. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
River brings up a good point of we also didn't even put in the new training method. So here's what I think. Here's how I feel. I think you should play this list. See how it feels. See what cards you like. See what cards you don't like. See how you like planning ahead. And see if that is a card that you enjoy using. I think it is a good card. I think it is a hard card to use. I think it is a card that you are going that is going to both win you and lose you matches. But I think without it, it was going to lose you or lose you matches, right?
Stacks, by the way. If you call like 2 high attacks, it stacks, doesn't it?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it?
Oh God, it's brutal in the stuff like Tokoyami, isn't it? They play they play their first attack, they play their summon Dark Shadow, and then you basically say if you do Dark Shadow Ruin, it's going to deal no damage to me.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, the more you're saying it, the more I'm really liking planning ahead this deck. I do think it is way too...
You flip it with Tight-Lipped, right? And then you ready it with Rescue Completed, and then you build it back in. Or you destroy it with Self-Sacrifice, and then you slam it back in your stage. And you look at them and go, say hi, call hi again.
I think the biggest question here is it too smart for me? Because I played Cementos for 3 months, so I'm used to my foundations not existing.
Yeah, you'll just have to relearn, right? Teach you how to walk again.
I was really having that yesterday when I was playtesting this deck. I kept staring at my foundations. I'm like, I'm not used to having 10 foundations that do different things. That's not... I'm used to faced outs.
Welcome back to the real world, baby.
All
right, man.
All right, I think we got where we're...
I'm excited to see full Cowling work. I'm excited to see planning ahead work. I think there needs to be room for new training method, and I love to squeeze in one aiming for number 1. If you feel like you're not seeing Passing the Torch enough, it's just a 5th copy.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I'm gonna slam with this deck. We're gonna run it. If you're playing games tonight, I may or may not try to throw this into a game tonight. Just see how it feels.
For sure.
Yeah, I think we're in a good place right now.
All right, man.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for the support over on Patreon. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Catch you later, man.
Peace.
Peace.